Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into what's been going on with ZBCN. As of now, it's down 12.3%. Yeah, that's definitely not what we wanted to see, and for some investors it may even be disheartening. But before we start hitting the panic button, let's get a bigger picture of what's going on in the broader market. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. Cryptocurrency investments are volatile and carry risk. I am not a licensed financial advisor, and any opinions shared in this video are based on personal analysis and market observations. If we zoom out a little, the Fear and Greed Index is sitting at 71, which lands us right back in the greed zone. What does this tell us? It tells us that despite the current correction or dip, investor sentiment across the crypto market is leaning strongly bullish. That kind of optimism is largely driven by the recent uptick in Bitcoin's price. At the time I'm recording this, Bitcoin is hovering around the $108,000 mark. Ethereum is also making moves, currently sitting comfortably above $2,700 and testing a key resistance level. If Ethereum manages to break above that resistance, it could act as a massive signal to the broader altcoin market, potentially triggering what many traders refer to as altcoin season. Now here's where things get a bit quirky. ZBCN loves to play by its own rules. We've noticed a strange trend with this coin. When the market is flashing green and Bitcoin is soaring, ZBCN often takes a dip. And when the rest of the market is bleeding red, that's when ZBCN decides to surprise us with a pump. So maybe what we really need is a red day across the market to see this coin finally catch some green candles. Now, let's move on to the big news that dropped just a few hours ago. Zebec posted a sneak peek of their upcoming television campaign, set to air on major networks this summer. The campaign is centered around the slogan, "Life doesn't wait. Why should you pay?" Zebec makes every moment count with real-time earnings. This kind of mainstream exposure could be monumental for awareness, bringing Zebec in front of an entirely new audience. Interestingly, while the price of ZBCN has been on a downtrend, the community hasn't been disheartened. In fact, some members of the Zebec community are doubling down. One user on social media shared that they keep accumulating ZBCN every time it dips, wondering aloud whether they're being overly optimistic or if they know something others don't. Another user mentioned they exited their position last week with a small profit and are planning to re-enter at $0.25. It's a calculated move based on technical support lines. And then there's this other user who simply said, "I keep buying." They even posted proof of their purchase, showing they bought more tokens earlier today. The commitment here is crystal clear. The Zebec community is full of believers. Whether it's because they're sold on the fundamentals or just riding the momentum, the conviction is definitely there. This brings me to a larger point. Conviction and strategy are everything in crypto. If you've done your research and you believe in a project's long-term potential, then buying the dip can be a very rational move. But it has to be part of a broader trading or investing strategy. Maybe you're the type of person who doesn't care for technical analysis, TA. Maybe you just DCA, dollar cost average, whenever the price looks attractive. That's perfectly fine, as long as it's a strategy and not just emotional decision-making. Personally, I like to mix conviction with technical analysis. I look for strong support levels to enter a position. I try to avoid chasing pumps or catching falling knives. Even with coins I'm extremely bullish on, I wait. Over the years, I've learned patience the hard way. I've jumped into trades too early, thinking the price would never drop further, only to watch it bleed another 20% or more. So now I take my time. I wait for support confirmations. I wait for setups that give me the best possible risk-to-reward ratio. And I'll wait for months, even a year, if that's what it takes to enter a project I believe in at a price I'm comfortable with. That's how much patience I've had to develop after being burned too many times in this market. Now let's look at where ZBCN stands today. It's currently priced at 0.38 cents with a market cap of about $307 million. Daily trading volume is sitting at 47 million, which is down quite a bit from over 100 million just a week ago. That's a steep drop, but not necessarily a bad thing. Lower volume sometimes signals consolidation, which often precedes a major move in either direction. What's also worth noting is that ZBCN is still not listed on major exchanges like Coinbase or Binance. That's a huge deal. If or when one of these top-tier exchanges picks up ZBCN, the increased accessibility and exposure could drive the price significantly higher. Community sentiment remains high, hovering around 88% bullish according to recent polls. That's slightly up from 87% the day before. Now let's flip over to the charts. About a week ago, I mentioned that we were forming a double top pattern, a classic bearish signal. We saw a new all-time high on May 30th, followed by a rejection and a retest, which ultimately failed. That double top played out as expected, and we've since seen the price decline. Some viewers still thought the chart looked bullish back then, and I understand where that optimism comes from. But I also noticed a potential bearish head and shoulders pattern forming, and unfortunately, it's been playing out almost to the textbook definition. I previously pointed out the 0.33 support zone as a key area to watch. If the price touches that level and finds support, we might see a reversal and a new leg up. As of now, that zone still remains my target for re-entry. I also mentioned the 0.040 support level, which held up for a while with multiple bounces, but it looks like we're breaking below that now. So, if you're looking to enter, 0.033 is the area I'm watching closely. Others in the community are eyeing even lower levels. Some are talking about 0.0024s. Whether or not we hit those levels remains to be seen. But here's the bottom line. You need to define your strategy. If your goal is to build a long-term position and you believe ZBCN could one day hit a $1 billion or even $5 billion market cap, then accumulation at these levels could make sense. Just keep in mind that ZBCN is still a relatively small cap, and that means higher volatility. These price swings can be brutal, both to the upside and downside. That's the nature of early-stage crypto investing, but with higher risk often comes higher reward, if you play it right. Also, remember that the lower the market cap, the more susceptible the coin is to large percentage moves. Unlike mega caps like Bitcoin or Ethereum, which move slowly due to their massive valuations, a token like ZBCN can jump or drop by double digits in a matter of hours. That's why it's critical to understand not just the fundamentals and charts, but also your own risk tolerance. Now let's not overlook the macro environment. The entire crypto market is under a microscope right now. Regulators are watching, exchanges are tightening up, and retail sentiment, while bullish, is still a bit shaky. So anything can happen. That's why your best weapon in this market is preparation. Have your buy zones marked, know your exit strategy, understand your time horizon, and above all, stay calm. Finally, I want to wrap this up by asking you guys a question. What's your personal outlook on ZBCN? Do you think it's just a matter of time before it lands on Coinbase or Binance? Or are you still hesitant, waiting for further confirmation from the charts? Maybe you're a long-term holder who believes that patience will eventually pay off. Either way, I'd love to hear your thoughts. So if you're new to the channel or just found this video helpful, smash that like button, hit the subscribe bell so you don't miss any updates, and drop a comment below. Are you buying this dip, or are you playing the waiting game? Let's continue the conversation in the comments. Until next time, stay smart, stay patient, and stay bullish. See you in the next one.